All right. Good evening, everyone, once again. I want to welcome you. Thank you for your patience. Our host, Mr. Oluyemi Adeosun, is actually having some technical issues. It's going to join us along the line, but we won't keep you waiting. I'll just introduce myself. First and foremost, I want to appreciate the leadership of the HR mentoring team, headed by Mr. Oluyemi Adeosun. I really want to appreciate the good work that they're doing. They formed a very large community of HR professionals, which are being, given up-to-date skills and information about what is expected of an HR professional to do in their respective organization. I want to salute their work and everything that they are doing. My name is Adedeji Aderele. I'm the principal partner for Swift Employment Global Check. It's an HR consulting firm with our headquarters is in Abuja, Nigeria. And so I've been given this particular topic to maybe just do an expose to it. And apparently our organization, Swift Employment Global Check, we actually handle a lot of background checks for organizations in Nigeria and outside the country. So just to run us through some of the challenges and some of the requirements that are needed, for us to be able to have a sound background check in our organization. All right. So so that is just to introduce myself briefly. I had sent my profile, but I can't be reading my profile. Okay, so if you can see my slides, this is an example of a reference check that was done just September 2023. It was conducted by our organization, Swift Employment Global Check. And we see, a lot of this. And if you can see it, it's saying that your letter dated 28th of August on the above subject, you mentioned the name. I had to, for confidentiality sake, so they wrote that this particular person was admitted to study Bachelor of Science in Zoology at the Department of Zoology, Faculty of Life Sciences at Ahmadu Bello University. Trying to, I don't know, can anybody see the screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
Oh, very good, very good. So it's very clear, from this that this particular individual had done something that actually has altered, the narrative in the organization. So the school is saying that this particular person still has about 7 courses that, she's supposed to complete in school, in school. But this person already has about 15 years working experience. I want to believe about 10 to 15 years working experience. Sorry, not up to that. Maybe about 8 years or thereabout, about 8 years experience. She already has working experience with a fake result. And so when the school wrote us, the school said we should appeal to her to come and complete the 7 courses that she still has outstanding. Now, this client, a client had given us this brief to do a background check on this particular candidate. Apparently, when this outcome came, and I entered the HR manager for that organization, that, you know what, I think there is going to be a challenge with one of the verification that we're doing. And she looked at me and said, I know who the person is going to be. And she mentioned the name of the person, that she felt that this is the person that you know, she's problematic and all that. And apparently the person that she mentioned is not the person that we're talking about. Now, this particular candidate is a star performer in our organization. She does the job excellently well. She knows the job. In fact, when we came out with, you know, our outcome with the result and we sent it to the organization, it took them a while before they could tell the candidate, they could tell that staff that, you know what, we have to let you go. Because this was one of their top rated, high performing, you know, staff in that organization. But unfortunately, this was there a problem. She had falsified a result. And if you want to run a background check for every organization, it's very, very important for you to know that the crack that is going to compromise your organization is this little set of people that will get into the organization, you know, with fake result, fake identity. And it's so common in organizations that a lot of people just ignore it. A lot of people don't even know that it exists. Some people don't even know, you know. So this organization, Ahmadu Bello University had to tell us to tell the, you know, the staff to come back to us. This is another one. Now, these are recent, you know, things, because our organization will always run background checks. So we see this. You can see this letter was dated 20th of September 2023. This one was dated 4th of April 2024, where we had written, you know, to verify an NYSC certificate. Do you understand? And NYSC had written back to us to tell us that, you know what, we want that particular staff that you are trying to verify to come to us with the original copy of the certificate that he presented to you. Based on experience, once any organization or a body is saying that let the candidates bring the original, what they are saying, in essence, is that that result is fake. And what they try to do is to recall that certificate that individual is taken out in circulation. And the moment they get it, they destroy it. So we were given 2 weeks for this particular candidate to report to the NYSC office to bring the original copy of that document that, you know, she's parading up and down. Unfortunately, you know, and many a times when this happens, especially for NYSC, once we reference something like this, if you have ever been to the NYSC office, especially their headquarters, it's being manned by a lot of military people, you know, so we have military person. This is not police, this is a military guy. So once you tell somebody that, you know what NYSC is, they will not go, because they know that the military will hold them down. And to understand, it's a criminal offense. It's a criminal offense. So they will not go, they will just disappear all of a sudden. And this happens because some organizations, you know, just believe that, you know, they should do this. I can tell us, you know, for free on this platform that maybe I don't think we have up to 1% of organization doing background checks on their employees. Not up to 1%, you know, and there are so many reasons why, you know, this happens. Because of time, let me move to the next one. This is another one, you know, look at this. This happened maybe sometimes around 2014. Driver masterminds kidnap and murder of his employer. Now we see a lot of this. This happens a lot. It's negligent hire of domestic staff, not doing a proper background check on domestic staff. And I've seen a lot of people do this. They don't run any check. They don't even know. Somebody hires a driver. Maybe somebody just tells you that, I know this driver is good. And you just carry the, key of the car. Can he drive? He starts driving you. No check, no reference. Nothing is done whatsoever. And people just begin to use it. And sometimes when these people, sometimes they work with their, owners for about 10 years, they will do so well, but there is a crack, there is a fault somewhere. And if you look at it, many a times, nothing was done. Nothing was done. I've seen cases where, drivers will run away with vehicles and they will ask the man and he will say, you know what, I don't know where he lives. How can you entrust the life of your children to a driver you don't even know where he lives? You don't know anything about him. This are that. And a lot of this happened. There are cases where, in fact, there was one that happened in Abuja, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. A proprietress of a school was murdered by a driver. The driver drove her somewhere, raped her, killed her, and buried her in a shallow grave. In a shallow grave. It took, a lot of, police intervention and, some detectives to be able to unravel what exactly happened. And all these things happen because the proper background checks are not being done. So the checks are not just for, maybe formal employment in the workplace, even common domestic staff. And a lot of us, and I'm happy that we have a lot of people joining this today. And I'm sure people are still going to listen to this, on the YouTube. Please, you're hiring anybody, anybody, please go and know them from now. That artisan that is coming to your house, that plumber that you don't even know where he's coming from, that electrician that you don't even know anything, you just call him, he comes to your house, he fixes and you cannot even trace him to anywhere except the fact that you only have his phone call. This is danger, in the making. Danger. And as I'm talking to us today, a lot of us are, beginning to pick all these things that, okay, this person that I'm engaging, do I even know this person? Some of us have, people that come to work in our homes and we don't know their houses. We didn't even know no recommendation, no reference, no guarantor, no nothing, nobody that you can say that this is this person, that if any problem happens, I will go to this person. None at all. That is real danger. All right. We'll see another one here. Just, a couple of scenarios happening around. This happened in US. In Michigan, 2 children dead after suspected drunk driver crashes into birthday party. Have you ever, people have drivers and they don't do, some basic drug test for the driver, basic drug test, And so if you may not know that your driver is into drugs, you may not know. And the only way you need to know is to continue to run background checks, because one day it's going to happen. Some people don't even know, that some of their drivers, are trading on hard drugs. And the driver may keep the hard drug in your car. And you may be driving one day and one of these NDLE guys will just tell you to park, and they do a search and they find a hard drug that you know nothing about. And the next thing, you are not even sure what happened. You are trying to get yourself out of a trouble that you knew nothing about. So these are some of the things, these are the reasons why we must imbibe, this. It should be a part of us. Don't just trust people. Don't just trust blindly. Let me put it like that. Don't trust blindly. This is what happened. A drunk driver Just awaiting this, even this, drunken drivers, this one happens a whole lot. A whole lot. It happens. See another one here. A fake Swedish air pilot has been fined 1,700 pounds and banned from flying for 12 months after confessing to flying passenger jets. Do you understand? With a fake license. Now, this is how many of us, you can imagine, if this is happening in Sweden, I'm not sure we are safe in Nigeria from those of us that are in Nigeria. Have you gone to find out? Do you understand? Who checks? Now, this one is this guy is actually a pilot. I think this particular one, he is even a pilot. It's just that, they always do some renewal, some courses, short courses every time, but I think he didn't do it. He faked the license and he was flying with a fake license. I think sometimes the cost of those licenses can be quite on the high side. And because of that, and he just knows that I'm a pilot, so I can fly this thing. So why go and spend this amount of pounds getting a license when I know? So he just faked it, and they caught him. And this is the case here. Now, there was one that happened in South Africa. A pilot that has been flying for 20 years, did not go to aviation school, does not have any certificate. We all know people that are, that are not even called, a lot of fake people that are carrying fake results are fantastic. Have you seen somebody parading himself as a lawyer for years, and he has been winning cases even to Supreme Court? That is, you can't beat that, for crying out loud. So many a times, the people that are engaged in some of these things they are not dullards, they are superstars. Many a times, they hardly get into trouble. They hardly get into trouble. Growing up, one of the doctors that was treating us as someone we could call a family doctor, was a quack. And it was known. So my parents, were just neighbors. So my parents, if the matter is just mild, they just talk to him. You will give them, okay, give him this, give him that. When it becomes major, they take me to Jaja Clinic in UI. They understand, and that they take all of us to Jaja Clinic. But it was a known fact that this man was a fake. He was not a doctor, but this guy was, pregnant women will come and he would deliver them. He was doing all manner of, he was doing abortion. He was, delivering children. He had, ward where he was admitting people. He was doing all manner of things, and nothing. I'm sure he's very old now. That is, even if he has not passed away. There was never a time he was ever arrested. Never. And he was a fake person. So this also happened again. A fake doctor. This one was even apprehended. Thank God, because at the stage when this was happening, we had people that were sensitive enough. And that is why, please, anytime we're hiring, let's make sure, sometimes people don't want to engage professionals. They shy away from some things. You don't know it all. If you're an HR practitioner and you are trying to recruit a technical person, please get a technical person on board that can unravel a lot of things. So don't just say that I know it all. No, you can't know it all. Sometimes you need to get a consultant outside to sit, to be able to help you to ask, and to ask some technical questions that may help you to unravel what is happening. So this particular person was going to become was bidding for a medical doctor position at Covenant University in Otta. That's how they caught him and they arrested him. He is not a doctor, but he has a fake, a fake bachelor's of medicine and surgery degree. That's what he presented. He presented that. If they did not do their due diligence, this guy will be the main doctor treating. You can imagine the number of students that are in Covenant University, this fake person, if they had not done their due diligence, would have been the one, and it will continue in it. It will continue in it. So it is very, very important, for us to always, run background checks. Background checks will help us to, be able to identify bad actors. It will help us to be able to identify bad characters, liars, and, some accidents that are waiting to happen. Some accidents are waiting to happen. Some people are a disaster in the making. And once you begin to run background checks on them, you will know what is happening. You will know what is about to happen. I don't like all this organization that will tell you that, please, I want you to hire somebody from me in the next 1 week. Sometimes as consultants, we sign some SLAs with organizations telling them that, we can perform magic. We can turn stones to bread. We do all that. And we take those bids. And somebody is telling you that I want you to replace within 1 day or 1 week and all that. I'm like, come on, how are you going? And you are not even afraid that, you've not done, your due diligence on somebody and you just admit that person. Even if you trust the vendor that is bringing it, even you as an organization, you should do your own check on that particular, individual also. All these things are very, very important. It helps to establish good judgment. Yes, we need to be sure who we are bringing on board. Solid work ethics, loyalty, qualification and training, and all that. So we must, by all standards, ignore or not find ourselves, having to, involved in negligent hiring. An employer is liable if he hires, retains, or supervises an employee whom it either knows or should have known was not competent or fit for the job, and whose incompetence and unfit creates an unreasonable risk or harm to others because of the employee's job-related duties. So this is negligent hiring. And for all HR practitioners here, you need to know that this is so important. It weighs on us as individuals. It weighs on us. That's a key result area for us. You have to hire right. So if you discover that somebody that has been working for you for a long time, you now discover that the person has been switched, you are supposed to be queried for that, for allowing somebody like that to stay within the organization. The harm they would have done, you can't even fathom it. So we must be proactive. We must ensure that, as people are coming in, we do a thorough investigation on who they are. All right. Some checks, that we must do because of time. I know our time is really running. Some checks that, we should do. You should run social media checks. Now, very, very important. Very, very important. You must run social media checks. You must run reference checks. You must run, criminal record checks. You must run, address verification. You must run credit verification. You must run, medical checks. You must run personality check, and you must do some kind of assessment also. And a lot of them, just within the context of this particular training, I just want to limit it to this, And we need to know about 40% of employers use social media to screen candidates, and to look into evaluate professionalism and social conduct. It is very, very important. Don't shy away from it. When people are coming, you are hiring them, go to their LinkedIn page, go to their Facebook page, their Instagram page. They should give you, there's a way you must capture, your information or your data collection in such a way that your employee or your candidates are able to provide some of this information. Give us your LinkedIn profile. Give us some, your social media profile. And if you are not able to do it by yourself, and this is so very important, you must outsource this kind of thing, because you can't even have the time to be able to do this. Somebody somewhere has rubbished your brand some years ago, and you are about to hire them. So very, very important that you do some social, media checks before you hire. Now look at this. This is what somebody said some years ago. He said, going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding, I'm white. This is one post that somebody made, and she was not about to get a job in an international NGO, and they referenced this, and that is all, because certainly this person has blown it. How are you going to defend yourself, at an interview when you're there? This is high-level discrimination. High-level discrimination. You want to work in a development space where you're already criticizing Africa, that is the major recipient of most of the, development aids, and you're already saying something like this. So this is a no-no. And unfortunately, social media many a times may not forget, So, and that's why also it's important that we are careful what we say on social media. And as HR practitioners, look into this. Our job is so intense that we cannot go into all this. Even the process of getting the right candidate alone wears us out. Talk less of going into all these details. How many HR practitioners would say, I want to be doing this? That is why you have to, when you are putting up your budget at the beginning of, the financial year, set out, a budget for things like this. Don't say I can do it. I've seen a lot of HR, managers, they will tell you that I can do it all by myself. I can do it alone. I'm learning, I'm doing all that. And you'll be making small errors like this. It can be very costly. All right. Okay. So, when you're using social media, you also have to be very careful, a lot of due diligence you need to put in place. Sometimes you may not also be entirely right. The person so you may also have to let the person explain to you, the spur of the moment, why they did that. Some people are perennial, cyber bullies. Some people are going to, unnecessarily challenge, the existence of your company. And you would have seen the trend. They are always anti-leadership. They are always anti-progress. They are always, criticizing somebody doing this. So, they are caustic with their words. And as HR professionals, you don't want to bring in somebody that, it's going to bring a lot of, problem into your system. So you have to do a lot of due diligence. The next thing is, reference checks. And, we must ensure that we do a lot of reference checks. Some of the checks that you need to do, you must do academic reference check, just like I showed us at the, every document that was tendered or that was used, as an entry requirement for any position needs to be checked. It needs to be checked, so academic references must be checked. And how do you do this? Just like I said, always use professionals because they know a whole lot about it. See, if you go directly and you're saying that, I want to do a reference check to a school, sometimes 1 year you have not gotten it. It may be, sometimes it can be that frustrating. It could be even for some of us that practice these things with the network that we have in some of the schools, sometimes these things are still delayed, sometimes, and these are some of the limitations that are there. Perhaps maybe the reasons why some people don't even want to get it, because you've given somebody a probation of 6 months. And within 6 months, the references have not come out. You will just be like, you'll be frustrated along the line, So, but if you give to, background checks organization, they already have a lot of relationship with most institutions, not just within the country, but even outside the country. We had some issues with schools in Benin, and it's very sad. For some of us that are hiring people from Benin, schools in Benin Republic, you need to exercise a lot of caution, about those schools. A lot of the graduates from those schools, have had to doctor a lot of things, and sometimes when you even see some of the certificates, you be like, okay, who do I know in Benin? As an HR person, you just assume that this person cannot be telling lies. And they will speak well at the interview. They sound as if they know it. Then you will just feel that there is no need to even check this again. Sometimes you even say that nobody will respond to you. Sometimes some of these guys, they will so doctor it that they put some contacts on the certificate. So there's a phone number on the certificate. If you reach the phone number, it's their person. If you say, did this person, they will tell you that they will help you check. And they will send a letter, an official letter to you telling you that this person graduated. It's a lie. This, if you are not immersed in this job itself, they will outsmart you. When I was working in the bank, and for us, when we were in the bank, before you can be confirmed as a staff, we're going to run a background check on you on every of this component 2 times. 2 times. Sometimes we do it 3 times. And at that time, we will write to the department, we will write sometimes to the registry. But there was a particular case. This particular staff, he was already a staff, intercepted the very first reference that was sent to the department. He intercepted it. He already had somebody in the department that they always said to those guys. And they're saying that when anything comes from me, especially when they know that they are going to an organization that does checks, the next thing they will do is to contact that person in the department. They will send heavy money to the person that will compromise the person and say, please, when anything comes from this particular organization or this bank, just let me hold it. So this was what this guy did. So he had compromised that and intercepted the very first one that was sent, filled it by himself. He filled it, he stamped it, and sent it to the bank. So when we got the reference, it was favorable, we were happy. He did not know. He did not know that there was a second one that was going to the registrar's office. So he did not know. And because he was the one that filled it, he thought that was all. When the reference came from the registrar, it contradicted what was done from the so the registrar told us that this particular guy did not graduate from the school. The department said this guy graduated with a 2-1, and the registry said he did not graduate. So at that point in time, we now had to send another one to check. By the time we were sending, the person's contact in the department had been, moved to, in all these schools, they always transfer them. The person had been transferred from that department to another place. Another person was there. That one just said it the same way and everything. The moment we got the third reference, we summoned him. It was in Oyo branch. I can remember, it was in Oyo. We summoned him to head office. While he was coming, he knew that there was problem. The moment I set my eyes on him, I said, you know what? This is what we got. He said, Digi, it is true. And he said it in Yoruba, maybe for some of us, he said, do understand? And obviously, integrity is, we have zero tolerance to, lack of integrity. And that was how, he lost it. So you do reference check, on all academic. Sometimes we ignore we ignore basic ones like O-level, WAEC. People are doctoring WAEC. Oh my God. The kind of fraud that is happening in people. See, when you see it, it's very rare for you to see somebody that will score 100% in a thorough background check. 100%. Very, very difficult. Some people have doctored their O-level results, you know, and they used that, they passed it through the university system. It's like money laundering. So you get an illegal money and you pass it into a system to make it legal. And now you have houses. Now everybody is seeing houses, but they didn't know how the money came. So everybody is saying that some people will use fake O-level results, but they will graduate from a university. So the university degree is now good. But the process of entering that university was compromised. So if you are running a background check, sometimes you discover this. By the time you get to them, they will tell you that that they are sorry. Let's take, for example, some of us knew we were all in this country at the time when the minister, a whole federal minister of finance, a whole federal minister, as educated as she was, went ahead and collected NYSC certificate without going to camp. Without going to camp. NYSC certificate without going to camp. I don't understand. How would you have known as intelligent? In fact, I think she had even served at the state level, maybe in Ogun State at the time. And nobody did a background check on her at that point in time. It took Sahara reporters to come out. Even federal government could not detect it. So a whole lot that we need to do. It's supposed to be intense. It's supposed to be intense, you know, what we're doing. Professional qualification, somebody is telling you that I'm a chartered accountant, and you just sweep it under the carpet. Sometimes we do selective checks. Just say, let me just do this one. Let's leave. We will just believe that for you to have master's degree, then you must have a BSc now. And because of that, you only check masters, you will not check BSc. Or you just say, Shebi is already a graduate. What is O-level compared to that? Go and check it. You will discover a whole lot of things. You know, we must also do previous employers reference check. Very, very important. And last two employers. This is very important, critical. Last two employers, minimum. There was, and there are a lot of red flags. You know, I put one of my slides there, I put, a time, to talk about red flags. But there are a lot of red flags. There was a particular staff that we hired at a time. This person had about 15 years experience. And this staff had never been confirmed in any organization. Never been confirmed. We sent a reference, previous employers to the very first one, to his last employer. They told him that they are not able to give us a reference because it was not confirmed before he left. So we sent it to the previous employer. That one wrote us and said that they cannot confirm because he was also not confirmed in the organization. But we wrote to the previous again. They said the same thing. There is a red flag. That guy is running from something. It will never be confirmed. So he's using all those things, it will stay for a while, get salary for a while. When he knows that it's getting to the point where, he will leave and join another bank. He will leave and join another bank. When you see somebody that you cannot really get any referencing from the last employer, there is a problem. It's a red flag. Why should you not stay in a place to be confirmed? Why is it that you just spend 1 year and some few months in every organization? In the last 3 months, you have not even spent quality time. It could raise a red flag. That person is running from something. And that's the way it is, So we must ensure, that we do, previous employers. Guarantors check also, very, very important. Have guarantors, when people, say that, they have guarantors. Some people, they will be the one to fill the guarantors form themselves. Do some checks. When somebody says, I'm guaranteeing somebody, check again, call them, go to their offices. They must be of people of high reputation. Not just anybody will just feel something, and it doesn't have a stake. So set high standards for who must guarantee your staff. Set it. And once you see those people, once they feel it, go and confirm that they're the ones that they know this person. Because people is so, in fact, lawyers don't even do guarantorship, because it's so critical. So anybody that wants to guarantee anybody must, and there must be a tenor for this. Please, when you are running checks, your check is not eternal. You need to know that. Your check should also be termed. All this reference check that we're talking about, sorry. Okay, it's saying that, all right. All this reference check that we're talking about, there must be a tenor for it. After a while, you must do it again. Every 2 years, there must be a repetition of what you have done before, because the person that you saw some 2 years ago might have changed along the line. You must do personal reference check. You must also sometimes do previous supervisors check. The previous supervisors check will tell you a whole lot about the work ethics of that particular individual, because that supervisor was the one that supervised his work. He was the one that knew everything. So he will be able to really dig into the strength and the weaknesses. It will tell you the way it is. If you capture and you structure your questionnaire in such a way that you want an unbiased response, the last supervisor would tell you the kind of person that is coming to work in your organization. Now, it's not for you to discriminate. It's just for you to be able to digest this person and see areas in which you need to work on. When the person comes to you at the point of interview, everybody is selling themselves. Everybody tells you the good about themselves. But the last supervisor, mostly will tell you some things that will help you, that will be beneficial. You must also run criminal record checks. This in Nigeria is being conducted by Nigerian Police Force. It involves a couple of fingerprinting, and it's also very important. Now, in terms of data, it is sometimes, we still don't rely on data management, especially as far as criminal records is concerned in Nigeria. So the technology that supports this in Nigeria is still a little not up to scale, the kind of level in which you want, but they still do it. And they will give you, some report, and they will tell you that, okay, this is this person, does not have any criminal case and all that. I don't know how they are able to sync information, but truly, there are criminal records checks that is being done. So they will take all the fingerprints and scan it and take it through their system and see if peradventure there had been a case, in the past. And they will, but for me, I don't entirely fully trust, the process because of data management in Nigeria, but it is still being done. So if you want to do it just to tick the box or just to satisfy your curiosity, you can run a criminal record check. Address verification, very, very important. Current physical house address of anybody, whether it's your driver, whether it's your cook, your chef, your child mindler, anybody that is coming to you, your plumber, your hairdresser, all those things, they just come to your house. You don't know anything about them. So before you engage, that's why we keep saying that if you want to do this thing by yourself, it is cumbersome. You can't even do it. That's why a lot of us don't do it, because it's cumbersome. You want to tell somebody saying that, did you want me to know where my hairdresser is living? Why must you not know? Why must you not know where your artisan is, the plumber is coming from? You don't even know. You don't know whether it's one of the insurgents that is being looked for. Don't understand? And they are trailing him. They trail him to your house. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. So physical house address, must be known. Also, for previous employer office address, this one happens a lot. In Nigeria, my eyes have seen in this verification job. Some people will tell you that they were working for a particular organization that never exists. They will fictitiously give you an employment letter that was given to them. They will fictitiously give you pay slip that was given to them. They will run pay slip for 3-4 years. Do you understand? If you ask them for a bank statement, you will see that salary, it looks like salary is being transferred. All this office is just in somebody's phone or somebody's laptop. No physical address at all. So it's important that sometimes when somebody tells you something, you go. There are many times I'll be looking, we'll go round. You will go round. You'll be just, please, does this office exist? They will tell you it does not exist. Now, it's not, I'm not saying that it is entirely wrong, but as a background check company, we should be able to advise our client to say, okay, this person has said that he worked here. They do not currently have any traceable physical address. There is no serious business that will not have a physical address. Why do you want to employ someone and you want to be paying the person 30 million naira from an organization that does not exist? Don't understand. That should send a red flag to you that there is a problem. But what do some people do? Once somebody says that this is the company that I work for, you know what they're going to do? They will just tell you, okay, what's the email address of the person? You send message to the email address that they give you. They are the ones that will receive it on their phone. They are the ones that customize the email address that you will send it to. They will receive it, respond to it, and send it back to you. We have seen a lot on this. So address verification is all these things. By the time you begin to do it, it will keep unraveling a lot of things. Sometimes you also need to check maybe, website address. There was one institution. When I saw the certificate, I knew there was a problem, but we can't just, this certificate was reading London School of something. It was reading London. There's nobody that will see a certificate reading London School of something that you not say, oh my God, so this person schooled abroad and everything. They shock me. I have seen. That school does not exist till today. I sent people, they were walking around London. Everywhere was like, no school like that. Fake result, fake. Fake. We do a whole lot. Intense job on doing this, just to unravel, the mystery, especially in Africa. People are doing all manner of things just to, get by and just to do some things. So you want to do due diligence, you must look for all this. Credit verification is also very important. This age and time of, online loans, you can know the behaviors of your people, of the person you want to hire. Some people, no matter how much you give them, their credit life already shows that there is no amount of money you pay them that will make them to be satisfied. So their appetite for money is so high that it could put you and the company into a high risk. A high risk. So know it for yourself. I'm not saying you should discriminate a candidate on that. We would obviously not discriminate, but it is also good for us to know. Maybe at a point, the hiring manager can now maybe run that candidate through some of the things that they got in the verification and say, you know what, this is what we have noticed. And we want you to work on this, improve on this, do this. So it reviews the lifestyle of that individual, and it also reviews potential risk and guides, on exposing staff to financial dealings, on behalf of the organization. So when you know that somebody does not have good standing with money, don't expose them to finances because they will mismanage it. All right. You must also do medical checks. I know a lot of organizations do this. Pre-employment medical test is important. Routine annual medical check is also important. For those that have chefs and cooks, at home, please always run periodic checks on your cooks. Always run it, hepatitis, HIV, run it. In fact, I have some expatriates, they do it every 3 months on their cooks. They will do it. They must run it. They will do stool test. The person will go and do stool test. They will culture it. They won't just want to, you have to, some of us have brought in some, some house help for our children. And since they have come into the house, you have not run a single test on them. No single test. And they are taking care of your children 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And these people are doing all manner of things everywhere, and you don't know. Please do checks, medical checks on people that are, that are walking around you. Medical checks for your drivers, drug tests. Let them put breathalyzer. Let them see that, oh, this guy has started involving himself in drugs. It is to inform you on the next step to take. So if this guy is on drugs, then he cannot be driving me. It's as simple as that. So run drug tests for drivers, and some of your staff that are running heavy machines in the factory or in the work, do drug test for them so that they don't kill themselves or expose the organization unduly. So you must run. Then also you must run personality check. Very, very important. It's a background check that you must run, and we have a lot of personality checks, that we can do online. It helps you to know people, and it helps you to know how to be able to deal with them and relate with them. Very, very important. Last but not the least is assessment. So assessments are also part of background checks that you should do. When you run aptitude tests, it gives you an insight into the way this person is and whether it matches what this person has said in some areas. It can help you with some informed decision. We can run technical tests. A technical test, sometimes it may help you to detect whether this person actually went to school or not. You may be able to detect it. So if you see a doctor that is not really a doctor, by the time you ask some questions, you understand, it might reveal. I'm not saying that it is foolproof, but it may reveal some things and help you. Some of us knew something that went viral recently when somebody went to a very large church, and the person said, I'm a BSc holder in law. To understand, that's a red flag already. And the pastor acted based on that there is nothing like that. So you must be telling lies. To understand. So also let your sensitivity be high. We're not saying that you should be partner, but when you are running technicality, if that pastor was not learned, he might just have taken it like that. And let's just imagine that particular pastor, the lady just said, I graduated with BSc law. Let's assume the pastor just said, praise the Lord, and the whole place went agog. Let's now say eventually they now get to know that lady did not graduate. The backlash should be more than what we saw. I say, that's how they do fake miracles. See, everything. And they will now abuse the man that you as a graduate, have you ever heard of BSc law before in your life? So it's important that we run technical, test. On the job test also, such kind of assessment can help us to know when you put somebody to test, you will know whether this person matches what he has said that he has done before or not. Probationary period is also very, very important. Always make the entry into your organization very, very stringent. Who you should conduct checks on or background checks on. All employees in the organization, with no exception. It doesn't matter who they are. He's coming in as a director, run a check on him. You are getting a new CEO. Run a check on him. Some people, they make it look like they're untouchables. When I was in the bank those days, you will see, GMs, those ones that are very close to the executive director. When we're getting new GMs, you will see them shaking. They will come to each other. They will be our friend. And they will be palling us, DG. Hey, you people, I heard you normally send things to some people. I say, yeah, we used to send. Okay, when are you going to send it? I said, I don't know. They want to intercept it. He is a GM, but he has some things that he's hiding. And they will come and be lobbying us to say, please let me know when you send it. So just let me know. The day you are sending it, let me know. What do you need it for? I'm supposed to check it without letting you know about it. But they will come and, just to try and do some things. It can be very bad. So because somebody is high up there does not mean that he has not gotten to that height, through some manipulations. Still run your check. You understand? And be be clear in your mind that yes, this person is the right person, irrespective of the level in which they're coming in from. Domestic staff, please run it. I've said it. Artisans, please run checks on artisans. Vendors are telling lies also. Vendors. If you are working, there are some things that you tell vendors to bring. Vendors will go and fictitiously bring, certificate of completion of job that they did not do. And you would just leave it. So when they submit their request for proposal and they submit all those documents, you would just flip through it and say, oh, okay, this man executed the job with this for so million. This one executed the job for this for so million, and this and this. And based on that, you feel that because this person has a track record of doing all these jobs, then it must be the one qualified. It may not necessarily be. So even for vendors, that is why tell your procurement people to do a thorough check on to confirm all the positions that they have put. Is it true or not? If it's not true, you get them out, because they're going to compromise the system at the end of the day. Childminders, chef, food handlers. Also, potential husband or wife for people that are single. Run a check on them, or singles in the house, please. Don't just fall in love blindly. Don't fall in love blindly. Come on, run a check. You want to get involved, you want to get a man, you want to just say, oh, I'm feeling butterflies, I'm feeling this one. What kind of feeling is that? Run a check. Don't understand, where does it come from? Where is his family background? What happens in their family? Don't understand, what is their family known for? We're not saying for you to discriminate the person. No, it's not for you to, take the person off. No, but do a check and know where you're going to. Don't go in blindly. It is wrong for you to go in blindly. So run checks on that guy or run checks on that lady. Do some mystery shopping. Madam Stella, I don't know whether she's still on. She does a lot of mystery shopping. She can help you do mystery shopping, and she will profile the person and tell you this is who this person is beyond what you can do. So you have a guy, and you feel that the guy is really around you, but you seem not to know so much. Get a mystery shopper to help you to unravel that guy. They will do it. It's a professional service, that Madam Stella runs. She will run it for you, and she will give you a detailed information about that guy, his lifestyle. It will tell you that this guy is a drug dealer, a Yahoo guy. It will tell you. So don't go into things, blindly. How often should, the test be done, or this, a background check? How often? At least a cycle of 2 years for all categories mentioned, with the exception of the medical test, which should be done annually. So run medical test annually. Some even run it quarterly, just like I said, depending on what works, with you. But don't say I've done a test. Let's take, for example, a guarantor of somebody today. You can't be using a guarantor. Somebody joined your company. The guarantor that the person used 10 years ago is the guarantor you are still using today. And you are saying you have a guarantor. Is a lie. Number one, the guarantor has forgotten. No, but the guarantor may even be dead. And you don't know. So you are thinking in your mind that you have a guarantor in the file. That people did guarantorship. The guarantor has died, is in heaven, and you don't know. So review these things every 2 years. Some of your staff, the address they told you when they got into your organization, they've changed the house address, and you are still putting it like this person is living in Shomolu, whereas this person has moved to Ikotu, and you don't know. And you're saying that you have no. So you have to be doing these things regularly, at least, within the space of 2 years. Always do, so that you will know the state of your staff at every given, or anybody working for your artisan. You must know the state at every given point in time. For relationship, it should be on a rolling basis until you have certified that the person, has passed several stress or litmus tests. So you want to get involved, you want to get married to somebody, run the test to the point that you are satisfied that, yes, you have done it. Some people get angry when you are running checks on them. Some people get very angry. It's just like, how can you be tracing me? How can you be doing this? See, there are better ways of doing. That's why I say, instead of you trying to check the guy's phone, and you'll be trying to get his password. Do you understand? Stop playing low. Get mystery shoppers. They will do it for you. They will run it for you. And they will tell you who this guy is. They will tell you he's dating 5 people already. And they will tell you the names of those people. So don't get into relationship blindly. Do it on a rolling basis until you are sure that, yes, this person that I'm getting involved in is a good person. How to conduct your background check. Use a credible background check service company. Very, very important. Use a background check. In Europe, because we also have affiliate companies around. Most organizations use background check companies. They don't do it themselves, because in the process of you may compromise it. Somebody in your team, in HR team, will send a reference, and maybe they now go to the club. He meets them and say, I've sent, they will just look at you and say, I've sent your reference to your school. That's how it will leak out. No matter how confidential HR is, they still have friends. They still have friends. But when you use a background check company, they will not even know. They will just come up with your result and just give you. If you have budget constraint, you can do it by yourself. Do you understand? It's better if there's budget constraint, but it can be stressful. I can guarantee you that. It will, in fact, it will almost distract you from the core HR, activities that you're supposed to perform within the organization. So just put it in your budget from the very beginning and make sure that as you're hiring, you are doing checks, and routinely, maybe every 2 years, run it again for the entire organization, because you might have missed it at once. You will not miss it again. Very, very important. Some of the challenges is funding. Most organizations don't want to fund, checks. Most people just feel that it is problematic. Let's take, for example, a typical, address verification in Nigeria now would be between 20 to 50,000 naira to verify somebody's address. And it can be that much, because some people don't even stay, very, around. Sometimes you have to go to remote places, and part of some of the outcomes of, address verification is at least you must have a GPS location of that particular address, because that's part of the things you will submit to the client. So the client must be able to plot the address of that person, and, the map will take them directly to that location. You have to do that. The cost of transporting yourself to those places and the cost of maintaining, so if somebody is saying that, so I'll now spend 20 or 30,000 naira to check where my driver is living. What nonsense. I beg, let him just be doing it. Shebi is Ahmed that introduced him to me. If he messes up, I'll call Ahmed. Ahmed would fail you. The day of trouble, he will fail you. You will disappear. Do you understand? So because of funding, sometimes some people just feel that no, it's not, they don't need it, and it's not worth it. But that is a hole, that's a crack in the organization. Sometimes confidentiality, there could be a breach. And that's why I always say, use a third party to do it. Because if you run it by yourself, there could be a lot of compromises along the line. When I was running it in the bank, when I was the staff of the bank and the bank was doing it by themselves, there are times that people will send huge money to us just for us to reveal what we're doing. And they just want you to tell me, please just tell me, have you sent it to that? When somebody sends you 100,000 naira and say, have you sent it to my school? You will say yes. And the person will go and, intercept it and do, so there could be a breach of confidentiality along the line. Interception of outcomes, I've said it. People can intercept it. They will intercept whatever you're doing, do it to their taste and send it to you, and you will not know. Do you know the signature of the registrar of Nasarawa State University? You don't know their signature. Do you know how their stamp looks like? You don't know. To understand. So you just get a report, and you just believe that it's good. And that's all. Then you just take it like that. So that is where when you are conducting it, don't even let them know. Don't let anybody know. And just keep it like that, and that's the way it is. Sometimes, government bureaucracies, the government is one. There was a time we sent a proposal to one government agency to run. Government does not run background check. If they should run it, if civil service should run background check, everybody is in trouble. They don't try it. And that's why we're having a lot of problems in that system. So much entitlement. Because some people have gotten there compromised, and they don't care. So, sometimes because of government bureaucracies, we can have, sometimes we are also given wrong data. Sometimes we get wrong data also. Like there was one case that happened, and this was very pathetic. So this guy had about maybe 15 years experience. This guy, the school wrote to us and they told us that the certificate that the person gave to us, that the school made a mistake from the very beginning. They gave this guy 2-2, but actually the guy was supposed to be given a third class when they computed the CGPA. So sometimes you better go back. Some of you are carrying 2-2 certificate, maybe it's third class. And this was purely an error from the school originally. This guy did not fake the result. The school gave him a wrong CGPA computation. So when a new HOD came in, and when we were doing verification, a new HOD came in, there are some people that are just thorough, and they just say, okay, let's recompute. When they recomputed, they discovered that this guy actually was on a third class band and not 2-2. So they begged us that this guy that has been working for 15 years, that he should come back to the school so that they will give him his third class certificate. So write in the comment section. Write it in the comment section. If it's you, will you go back to your school to go and submit your 2-2 certificates to collect the third class? It was the school that made the mistake because the school appealed to us that we should not do anything against him, that they were the ones that made a mistake. So please write on the comment section. If you are the one, will you go back to your school to return that certificate? All right. Also, sometimes some of the challenges we face is delay in response. Sometimes you write the school, there's so much delay. You write to some organization, they will just leave it. They will not respond to you. You keep sending reminders. Sometimes you physically go there. They will not respond to you sometimes. So we face sometimes this delay, especially sometimes in Nigeria, it can be a little complicated when you are writing to some institutions, some schools. In fact, there was a client that gave me a business on a Friday to verify some certificates in school. By Monday, all the tertiary institutions in Nigeria, they went on strike, a 1-year strike for 1 week. That obviously will delay the process. So imagine sometimes that there will be strike action for like six months, 5 months, 4 months. What that means is that you will not be able to verify anything within that period in Nigeria. So sometimes, all these things can come as a challenge in the outcome. So if you have a staff that is working with you and the school is not able to respond in 5 months, understand, you can't take action on that person. So these are sometimes some of the delays. I've spoken about the red flag, and I believe that this actually, this is just my own simple, and my simple experience that I've gathered over the years in running background checks. I want to encourage us, don't hire blindly. Keep doing checks. Anyone around you, your gate man, your driver, your cook, your artisans, your staff at work, everybody, your oga, you say it's oga, go and run check on him. It may be oga, but still run the check on him. It helps you to know the quality of people that you have on ground. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluyemi Adeosun. Thank you, HR mentorship team, for having me today. And I'm open to questions and about this background check. Thank you, everyone, for listening to me tonight. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adedeji Aderele. That was an excellent presentation from the very onset. You know, we started getting questions even before the session started, and I already knew we were in for a swell time. Thank you so much. You may quickly, sir, go through the chat box in case one or two questions might have been dropped earlier or during your session. And if anybody wants to ask questions, if you please raise your hands, we'll unmute you and grant you access. Or if you have a contribution, a comment, or you have a particularly fascinating experience with background check that you would like us to learn from, if you raise your hand, we'll unmute you and grant you access to ask your questions or share from your experience. Meanwhile, I can see many people sending their appreciation in the chat box, people saying thank you for the excellent job. On a similar note, when you ask that question as to how many people will, return the certificates, I was fascinated with the kind of responses. Somebody said supporting law. So we'll quickly take Stella, and then we'll take Naomi. Then we take Dr. Morakion, then we take Mercy. Okay? All right. Madam Stella, you may please unmute.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Share your observations, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Deji, for this amazing presentation. Okay, I didn't even know that.
Maybe we'll go to Naomi and come back to Madam Stella. Madam Naomi, please.
I can hear Madam Stella. She's on. Okay, what happened?
I'm here.
Okay. Okay.
I've made you a co-host. You can just unmute and ask your question, please.
Okay, I wanted to find out for instances where maybe the candidates attended a government school. For instances where the candidate attended a government school and the minute you send a request for background checks and the school is on strike. So what would you tell the client? Would you tell the client that the school is on strike, they should hold on? And then if the background check comes back and there are issues that can result to the candidate being asked to go after spending so much time, considering the duration of the strike, what's your advice in that kind of situation?
Thank you. Well, it's actually we just pray that our country we get over this incessant strike action. It's a deviation from the norm. It shouldn't be something that should always happen. So ideally, even if there is a strike action, there should be essential services. I've seen cases where there's strike action, people want their transcript, they cannot get their transcript. People are trying to apply for, maybe to study, for postgraduate and all that, and they're trying to refer to the school, to their alma mater, and they cannot respond just because these people are on strike. So I believe very strongly that, the government needs to look into this area critically. There should be some essential services within the school system that should continue to run, even if there is a strike action. But we believe for a new Nigeria that all this, the era of, incessant strike in the tertiary institution will be a thing of the past. But the truth of the matter is there's not, as a background check company, there's absolutely nothing you can do, because you must also not be seen as an institution that compromises in its process. I should not go and be bribing to get a result just because I want to be paid by my client. You know, that already puts me in a position of compromise. So I should ensure that the process is done the way it's meant to be done. And, you know, a university will not give me that level of maybe priority, as it were, if they have closed the school, the system, you know, and because of the bureaucracies that come to play, one person cannot do the entire verification. It's not possible. They will minute it from this officer to this one, to exams and record this one for this. It might go through 5 or 6 levels before it eventually being verified. So even if you know number one person, will you know all of them? Can you tell all of them to come to school just because of you to verify a certificate? So it's almost practically impossible. So when such things happen, you will quickly alert your client and let them know that there is a particular situation on this. And until, you know, the strike action is called off, we are not able to take a decision on this. So that is it. But just like I said, strike action is not something that, you know, we should pride ourselves with in this nation. God will help us. All right. Thank you so much. Madam Naomi?
Okay, thank you so much,
thank you, ma'am,
Ogadeji, for this presentation. My question is, you gave an analogy of a lady that was a game changer in an organization, but it happened that she falsified her certificate, saying that most organizations, they are result-oriented. Is it a must that they lay such people off, or is there a way that the rules can be bent for some cases? That's my question.
It's a tough one. It's a very tough one. And I have some of my guys here that, you know, like Dr. Moraki is here. He has, you know, ample experience on this line. But I just feel that once, you know, a kind of misrepresentation has been detected, it's just like saying that you see a fantastic pilot, he can fly the plane, but he didn't go to aviation school. And you say that I have to retain him just because he has been flying the plane and he has been landing the plane and he has been doing it for 15 years. I'm sure that if you know that any of our airlines in this country has a pilot that did not go to aviation school, but is sharp flying and landing, you yourself, you will not enter that plane again. You will not patronize that airline again. So it's beyond just performing on the job. You know, it's beyond just performing on the job. There is a loophole, and you're also sending a signal to the system that, you know, it's a system of that, and you know, that embraces integrity to the highest level. But as a background check company, we give our recommendation. It is now left for that client to take action on our recommendation. You know, so if we recommend that this person is not fit to function in this capacity because of what we have seen, we'll give our recommendation. It is now at their own discretion, you know, to continue. Sometimes it's tough. And just like I said, almost everyone that falsifies a document are all star performers. All star performers. Lawyers that did not go to law school, that did not graduate, they will defend a case from you till Supreme Court, they will win. So I don't know how God has made it, but, you know, for us, that is just the way. So if this is a process that has been set in place, those are convenient, go to school and go and study. So that's how it is. That's the way it is. Maogasa, Dr. Moraki.
Hello, Deji. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, thank you very much. What else can we say from an operator with hands-on experience to becoming a consultant on the same field? We have to agree that you are not authority. And truthfully, you have basically demonstrated this through your insightful presentation. I would like to say thank you and well done.
Thank you, sir.
Just like I've said, whatever happened, we are product of the environment we come from. The corruption, all those things are about us as a people. My question or the observation or the comment I want to make has to do with even where you have as consultant, background consultant, check consultant have brought in recommendation of findings. I work in a very big bank where when those things come, you still have to call the attention of the staff to what you found out.
Yes, sir.
And let me tell you some experiences. The organization the bank goes to a set of checking primary school results.
Wow.
So when the result comes from primary school, you can imagine primary school, your village, my village, or whatever, and the banker, and you now say that the name or whatever, usually something like date of birth. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
And the guy now, within a day or two, we land in that school. Imagine telling the headmaster, I'm a banker, they want to sack me or whatever. Emotions comes in.
Yeah.
Before you close your eyes and open, the school writes back and said to you that
they made a mistake.
Adelele, but they made a mistake. The one they sent to you was Adelele B, Adelele. We stamp. Because you can imagine how much will it cost a banker to give the school headmaster, maybe 5K or 10K. When last did anybody give her 10K? That you will not compromise. So, like you said, it's a decision of the organization. And that is why we say, the corruption, there be what you call it, absolute, whatever corrupt, absolutely. The challenge we have is that our system, if we have values, bring it to the table, it will make your job much more easier in terms of the authenticity of your findings and now help with each organization. But much as you have tried all this and somehow you get back, people get back to the source, compromise, that kind of thing. Similar to the last question, what can you do? You only make a recommendation and leave this decision to the organization to take. How it is. But like you said, it is also like what we say, money-wise, fun foolish. Yeah. If you don't get to do all this bank check, it has a huge cost, because when the cost comes, it will be difficult for you to. Some of them you cannot even. There's no way you can try to correct it. You can remedy. So it's much more advisable for you to ensure you embark on a background check, and you have made life easier for listeners that where fund is a challenge, budget is a challenge, let them still do it in their own way. The moment that you do it, also put the people on their stage that your background will be checked. Let me give you an example of what happened one time. One director called me because there was a particular guy, a particular lady, we worked with some organization together. If you are born overseas, like what WAEC is doing, your age, everything is in every document. Your school, your wife, so you have no hiding place. So, but you work in a place where they didn't check that. They said, oh, they generally will employ you, but you are 30 years. Just change your CV to 25 or 28, and you did, because that condition does not change. And since that time, you didn't change job. Now, you now change up to a one where they will check. So when they go to that bank where I worked, they said, bring your certificate. Started dodging. First week, second week. So she went to the director and told the director that this was that. And I remember the story because we came from the other bank together. The director called me. I said, she must resign. That's what you say. I said, this bank they will not compromise. So she left. She has resigned the other place. She could not stay here because this one will not compromise. Just like you said. Hey, the more you have something you are hiding, it becomes something that pursue, it chases you, it follows you everywhere you are, and it comes out at the most important time when you have some good appointment or whatever, even at director level or whatever. So, in a nutshell, for people to allow us to speak, it's very, very important for us to ensure these checks are conducted. Since even the president have also told us that if you don't have money to patronize the consultant for now, you can do it yourself. Because one of those things we also found out psychologically is that somebody who has told a lie in primary school or secondary school, there's a correlation in the actual of the person to be a cheat in the system now.
Yeah.
We were able to find out that during my work in the bank, that because I told the lie that time, that tendency is there.
Yeah.
And later, some of them I don't care about. They go into fraudulent actions that cost my banks or organizations millions or even billions of naira. So if you're able to have a background check, you're able to have some predictions about the attitude of the person, and you put the organization at some level of comfort. Thank you once again, Deji, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you, audience, too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. All right. Mercy, Madam Mercy. Mercy found me. Are you there?
I will take Daria Adigun.
Or Daria Adigun, okay.
Hello,
okay,
Daria.
sorry, Mercy found me is here.
Okay,
actually, yes, it's actually a company name. Let me just read that way. Thank you so much. My name is Adedeji, and my namesake. So I'm glad that I got that quality of delivery from my namesake. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Although I joined late, I was invited late by one of the group that I manage, actually. Okay, so I just wanted to ask, I know in the light of an incident that just happened in my organization, my current organization, I won't mention, there was a guy that we recruited only for us to discover that his appointment was actually terminated at his former bank. UBA was his former bank. So I wanted to ask, at what stage, you talked about background check, at what stage do you advise that that be conducted? Is it before offer letter has been issued? Because in this instance, we had already issued offer letter to this guy, and his resumption date was actually fast approaching. And I've seen instances where we issued offer letter, candidate to resume. It's during those processes that our background check keep running. So before confirmation, we ensure that we do all those, we get all those background reports. Do we have to go through, do we have to wait to that confirmation period? Because of course, you know, there's a cost of recruitment as well. So you spoke about somebody that never got confirmed, but I had 15 years of experience. You imagine what cost that would have been to each of those organizations. What would be your professional advice? And how do we go about in the light of delays from responses? Do you keep the candidate outside until you get confirmation, or you bring them into the organization and you continue your process? That's my question.
All right. Thank you very much for this question. And for some of our affiliate complaints outside the country, for them, majority of them, they do the checks before the staff comes in. And because they have most of their data and information synced, it's very easy to get some informations online real time. So it's not something that is hidden. And I just really wish that a lot of our institutions in Nigeria can embrace technology. These things are not supposed to be rocket science. Really, from the comfort, even at the point of maybe at the point of interview, at the interview session, you can just quickly check online if these things are on the portal. You just pay for it. You pay a token as an organization, and you get the information. Like that, we have some institutions that are already putting such in place, like WAEC. WAEC now for maybe if you did your WAEC from a particular year to date, you can actually go online and verify if this person actually went, and you see all the subjects there. It's online real time. So we're trusting that all this stress of having to check up, having to do background checks that we even go through, we want it to be as minimal, as possible, so that the recruiter can quickly check at least, the ones that I feel that are very difficult. It's verifying, maybe the tertiary institutions, university, as we speak now, university, because we have a lot of them. It's not just one. Like WAEC is just being run by one body. And NECO is being run by one body. But you have, well over 300, tertiary institutions, that's polytechnics and universities within the country. We're not even talking about the monotechnics and also, some colleges of education that are all there. So the institutions are large, and there is no central database that you can actually go into to get this information. So these are some of the challenges that we have. I would prefer that if it is not,
I can hear you. Okay.
If the organization is not under pressure, to hire immediately, they can give it time to check. But if they have to hire, I think that's the beauty of the probation period. Can you hear me?
Okay, I lost you at some point, but I can hear you now.
All right. So, before hiring the person, it's good enough if you could accomplish it within the time frame. If not, you can allow the staff to come in, but the staff is still on probation. And so before the staff is confirmed, do your checks. But also, just like I said, the check does not end there. It has to be, periodic. Every 2 years, recheck again, just to reconfirm that what you have done, is correct. So you continue to recheck, and that's it. So somebody that maybe was HIV negative when he came in might be HIV positive now. You don't know. So that's running medical checks, and all that. So let's continue to check, So check before, check after. That's good. Thank you.
Let's quickly take the last comment for today. Daria Adigun, please. Last question for tonight.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Deji. Thank you so much for the presentation. Very insightful and really professional. I really loved it so much. Thank you so much. I really learned a lot from you, and I'm inspired. I wanted to ask a bit of a question. I'm so sorry, it may be a bit more than one, but the very first one that is crucial is for organization. Let's say, for example, you've done a background check and you realize that the staff maybe has maybe there's a misinformation, as it were. For example, maybe you find out that maybe there's misrepresentation. Let me use that as an example. So and let's say you now make your recommendation as the HR professional or the consultant or the resident HR, whatever it is, as it were, you make your recommendations, and the organization still use their discretion to still keep that particular staff, maybe because they feel he or she is very good, he has spent quality time, and they still want to keep that staff keep him, even knowing that this staff has misrepresented himself, as it were. Is there a body in Nigeria that can hold organizations accountable or penalize them for such an action? Because I feel that is, I don't know, maybe unfair to those who have actually gone and spent all those quality of years in the university. That's my first question. My second question is still on the I was thinking about the example you cited earlier, where it was the fault of the university that made a mistake on such. You understand? Is it going to be unjust for the organization to fire such a candidate, knowing fully well that that wasn't their fault? And the third question is, let's say, for example, now, as you have a primary school that you have attended, because I listened to one of the participants who spoke about the fact that background check are still being done up to primary school. Me, for example, the primary school I attended has been closed and is not in existence anymore. Does that invalidate the fact that I actually went to that university, or will I be termed as a fraudulent person in the organization? And my last question is, let's say, for example, as you are growing in your career, you have changed your name mistakenly without you knowing. So for example, now there are some names, people will maybe in your name you write Deji, but your real name is Oluwadeji, and you are not including that Oluwa in the rest of your documents, does that still represent a mismatch? People saying that, oh, it's not the same thing, so that's fraud. So those are the 4 questions that are really burning. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Derry. So the very first question, like, is there a body that can, like, okay, if you have done a check and the check comes out, you know, not in the favor of the candidate, and the organization still insists that they want that particular staff. Now, for some highly regulated industries, it might be difficult for them to be, especially maybe like banks and financial institutions, you know, so they are being regulated by CBN or NDIC or SEC, as the case may be, and there are regulations to all these things. In fact, sometimes, you know, once a staff, you know, at some certain level is has committed a particular fraud, you know, and such names are also forwarded to CBN. And so that means it becomes a little difficult for the person to operate within the financial sector again, you know, at some certain levels, you know. So, so if the organization is well regulated, it will be difficult for the organization not to take action on, you know, a negative report on a staff, you know, because if it boomerangs, it's going to come back to them. So, but if it is not well regulated, if it's a sole proprietorship business, you know, and all that, and the person, I've seen people that will tell you that is my blood brother. So what do you do? Oh, he's my cousin. They say, don't cause trouble in our family. What do? You carry your face now, and you've told them, and you move on. So that's just the way it is. But as a professional background check company, you must say the entire truth the way it is. It is now left for them to, you know, do with what they do. The second question is the case that I mentioned in terms of the institution made a mistake. That are we supposed to fire the candidate? No, we're not going to fire the candidate, since the school had actually you know, declared to us that it was a mistake from them. We would not fire. We didn't have that right to fire the candidate. And also because the candidate was not hired, there was really no restriction to hiring third-class candidates, you know, as an experienced hire. There was really no known policy along that line. So we couldn't really take that kind of an action. It was the school's fault. It wasn't his fault. They admitted that the guy did not falsify the certificate. So the certificate was not falsified. It was just issued a wrong one. So it was the fault of the school. We could not actually sack him. But the only thing was that we had to impress on the guy, because that was the condition they gave us, that the guy should report back to the school. And that was all I knew about it. I know the guy will not report. And the guy obviously just waited for a while within the bank, and he had to move to another organization, you know, because for us as a bank, before we could confirm him, he was going to go and bring that third-class certificate from the school. That was the condition for us to be able to confirm him. So we didn't fire him, but you know, that's just the way it is. So you also talked about you know, your primary school that is no longer existing. So the good thing about some of these you know, but most of these schools are also being regulated. There are, you know, schools board at state level, you know, Federal Ministry of Education also, you know, supervises schools. So before you set a school up, there are things that must be in place, you know, and there are reports that you must continue to give, you know, because this is somebody's alma mater. You will not just say it has folded up. There must be a record somewhere. So government is a continuum. And so anybody that wants to verify, whether that school existed within that period. If they go to, the schools board within that state, they will verify and they will be able to tell you that this school existed at this particular time. And they will show you the students that went through that school within that period. So these are some of the things we do in terms of background check. You go the extra mile. So sometimes when it looks like we are charging and the fees are high, it's because you can hit some, some roadblocks, along a particular verification. So when I'm talking to a client, I say, okay, I want to verify school, primary school. And I say, okay, you pay me 50,000. The man can shout, why would 50,000? Imagine going to the school and you see that the school does not exist. You have to go to the school board. And I tell you, if you want to verify something like that, you will sweat. You will do a whole lot. Before he carries the file, he will say, no, I don't. So many things along the line. But every school in Nigeria, that is existing has a link with the schools board and with the Federal Ministry of Education. So you can always retrieve information from them. All right. So I think that is all about your question. I saw a question here on the comment section. Please, for a QSR business that has a high level of abandonment, how can background check be effective and not be a waste of money? Yeah, I've played in this space before, where you can hire somebody today and in the next 1 week the person will just leave. It's a high pressured environment. And when I was the head of HR for that, some of us might know, it's Airtel call center. They call it ISIN. It's called ISIN BPO now. When I was the head of HR, it was a very tough one, but I insisted that we were going to be doing background checks, so we can start, but we were not doing it because the company could not afford to get a background check company to run it because of the high rate of turnover. So we were running it within ourselves. We're doing it by ourselves. And some of the results were coming out, and interestingly, there were some people so what we discovered that most people that wanted to remain, because the job was high pressured, but there were some people that, as high pressured as the job was, they wanted to stay. We now discovered that those people that wanted to stay, some of them had fictitious results. So they want to stay because there's no job outside, they don't know. So they'll just stay. So the background checks, as we're doing them, was revealing those things, and we're sacking them immediately. Once we notice that you have falsified your document, we'll just sack the person. So still do it. You may not do it, engaging a background check company because it might be very expensive for you. And if the turnover is high, it will not be value for money. So, but do it by yourself. You are bringing in somebody, check guarantor, check personal reference, start the school process if you can, and, just continue to do it. I think that's what I would advise. All right. Mr. Lee, I think that's the only one I'm seeing here. I don't know if there's any other one.
Thank you so much. Before some other stakeholders begin to check on us, we need to wrap up this session like now. I'd like to thank you most sincerely on behalf of the over 90 people who joined this session live and the several hundreds and thousands who watched the recording. Again, this was an excellent presentation and delivery. Thank you for bringing to bear your wealth of experience, both as a practitioner, as an employee, and also as a manager and director of a background check company. This has been worth the while, and we appreciate your time and do not take it for granted. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's continue to enhance our capacity so that when they do the background check, we won't be found wanted. Good night, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Good night.